Three, two, one, and we are live. Welcome. This is the Down and Dirty at 7 p.m. tonight instead of 1:30. And I'm Vishan Borich from Team Tough, also known as the Tough Mama. And if you're watching this today, you're in for a treat again because I'm going to be sharing with you some lessons that I've learned from million-dollar earners. And before I do that, I really want to share with you a little bit of my story. Some of you, maybe haven't met me, or some of you may not know all of my story. But I think it's important for you to kind of know where I'm coming from, because what makes me somebody that can share with you lessons from million-dollar earners. So let me share that with you. So basically, in 2013, it almost killed me, really. 2013 was a very, very challenging year for me. I am a mom. I have two beautiful boys. One is 9 and the other one is 6, Ty and Jack, respectively, the older and younger. And I also was a corporate executive. I worked in the newspaper industry on the digital side, and I worked with 50 newspapers or so all across the nation, and it was a really good job. It was high powered, as far as I was in charge of a lot of really important things and responsibilities. However, in 2013, everything changed for me. And specifically, what changed was in June, there was a rash of layoffs. And unfortunately, I was one of the casualties of that. And that happened on a Friday, as it does in most corporate jobs. That happened on a Friday. And my husband at the time, he was out of town. He was golfing in another state. And so I called him up and I told him the news. I said, things aren't going to be very good right now. Unfortunately, I just lost my job today, and we're going to have to really watch our finances, of course, and figure out the next chapter in our lives. Well, his voice was a lot different on the phone. Rather than comforting, I really felt like we weren't connected on that call, and it made me feel even more alone and scared. More than anything, I think that's the feeling of emotions that you go through when you experience a massive change in your life, such as a layoff. And I didn't really know what to think. Well, when he got back that Monday, or I think it might have been a Tuesday actually, when he got back from his golf outing, he came in and we sat down, and then the other shoe dropped. Basically, he asked for a divorce, which we went through. So basically, in the same weekend in 2013, it's hard to talk about this, but in 2013, everything changed for me. I, lost my job, and I, went through a divorce, and, if you skip forward a few months later, and here I am, a single mom, unemployed, with 2 little boys that I needed to care for and provide for. And I didn't know how I was going to do that, because I knew that if I got a job, I would have to put at least the younger one in daycare, and then the older one, as soon as he got out of school, he would have to go to daycare until I got off work, wherever I got a job. And I really just couldn't see myself in a cubicle, working for somebody else, because my previous career allowed me to travel, and when I wasn't on the road, I was at my home office. So here I was this torn up mess of emotions, trying to sort out my life. And I just started looking for a solution. I looked for a way that I could support my family and give us the freedom, so that I could spend more time with my kids, not have to put them in daycare, be able to work from home or anywhere, and provide the financial abundance that's necessary in order to keep my household going. So that was my initial goal. My initial goal was that, just to cover my bills and care for my family and not have to go into an office. Well, I was fortunate enough, I found a solution. What happened was I began searching online for different business opportunities, and thinking of ideas that I could do online from the comfort of my home. And I stumbled across a mentor who would help me, and which led me to other mentors in the industry. And basically I started getting coaching. And from that, it led into this incredible internet business that I've been a part of. And what I can tell you is that my whole concept of reality and what it's like to be an entrepreneur has completely changed. And from that moment, and that was in October of 2013 when I went all in, and basically I purchased all the products I needed to get my business off the ground. And it was a big leap. It was an investment in me. It was an investment in my life. And when I did that, from that moment, a whole new world opened up for me, in which I was able to connect to people that have done amazing things in their life and grown their business to levels that you've probably never heard of. I mean, I've actually had the opportunity to meet with 7-figure earners. That's over $1 million, or $1 million to $1 million, if you're not familiar with that. And I can't imagine, back in 2013, even thinking that I would ever be in a room with as many as 13 millionaires at once, that I would ever meet people that are younger than me in their 20s that are making multiple 6-figure incomes, and they're doing it all online. And, I've had those opportunities. So over the past year, everything changed. And what changed was I became not only fully invested in growing a business, I became fully invested in myself. And by that, I mean, I was ready. I was ready for a change that would help me to not only grow business, but to be a better person and to be a better leader. And I can't express to you how blessed I am and how grateful I am that I've done that. So this kind of leads in, now that you know a bit of my story, this kind of leads into, how did I get in a room full of, upwards of 13 millionaires at times? And how do I get to travel? Because now I'm traveling at least 4 times a year, sometimes more than that. And I do it on my own, or I can take my children with me. It doesn't matter. And I'm getting to meet people in these millionaires. And the other thing I get to do is I get to stay in these beautiful mansions. I get to go to amazing places such as Marlins Stadium when we were out in Miami, I think it was, and they rented out the entire stadium, and we got to go in there and have this giant party with a bunch of people that are entrepreneurs. And I don't know of too many companies, or even individuals for that matter, that are able to rent out an entire stadium. And so most recently, I was in Las Vegas. I just got back actually today. I was there for a full week. And the purpose of me being gone was to mastermind with other internet entrepreneurs and marketers from all over the world. We had people there in Las Vegas from all different countries. We had them from Australia, New Zealand, Thailand, Panama, China, India. We had people from everywhere. Of course, the US was represented as well. But all of these people share one thing in common, and that is they all desire a life of freedom. Freedom to not have to go into work. Freedom to spend time with those that they love. Freedom to work from anywhere or on the beaches of the world. Freedom to be who you really are and not try to hide behind that corporate mask or business mask that you often are in when you're in the workforce. And the freedom to create and build relationships with people all over the world who are willing to share what they're doing to grow their business to the next level. And so this leads me to the whole purpose of this call, and that is these lessons learned from $1 million earners. So one of the things that I did while I was in Vegas was I got to get a limo ride to a really fancy club in Vegas. Some of you who've been to Vegas before, you may have heard of a club called Drai's, and it was a really beautiful place. I've never been in a club. I'm not normally a clubber type, but it felt like it was just amazing because I was with people that I've spent time with in this business. It was kind of like going someplace with a bunch of friends that you just adore, and we just had a ball. And one of the things that we had was in the limo ride, we had some of our $1 million earners right there in the car with us, in the limo with us. And then once we got to the club, of course, they were with us. And I'm looking around at these people, and I'm listening to what they've done, and they're not any different than me or you, for that matter. They're not any smarter than you or I. They're not any more attractive than you or I. They weren't more privileged. Most of them did not grow up wealthy. They made their own wealth. They're self-made millionaires. And they were really kind and considerate and humble by how they reached this $1 million status. And so as I listened to them talk, one of the questions that I asked many of them was, what would they recommend for somebody who is interested in starting an online business, or maybe has an online business and really wants to see it grow and become an abundant business that could reach the $1 million levels? And this is what they said. They said, the number one thing that you need to do is get out of your head and into your heart. And it really resonated with me this time. I mean, I've heard these things before, but for whatever reason, it really resonated with me. And what I mean by that specifically is, getting out of your head and into your heart, is oftentimes we overthink what it takes to grow a business. We think it requires a lot of hard work, which it does require work. I mean, there's no get-rich-quick schemes out there. If anybody claims they are, it's probably a scam. It does take work. But the thing is that's unique about them is that they said that when they started speaking their vision and sharing their story with others, that all of a sudden they started getting new business. People wanted to work with them. People wanted what they had. They didn't care what they were selling. They wanted the person behind that. They wanted you. If you were a millionaire sitting across from me, they wanted you because you spoke your vision, because you shared who you are and what you believe in and where you're going in your life. And here's the other thing. They didn't share how they got to their vision. They shared where they are going. And there's a big difference in that, because oftentimes when we're in our head instead of our heart, we are trying to figure out how to get there. What steps do I need to do in order to get to $1 million? And you start trying to map it out. And what happens is you get so caught up in the little details that you lose focus on what's really important. Nobody cares about the little things that make up the process. What they care about is where you're going. And that's what you should care about too. So if you have a really focused, clear vision on where you like to be in your life, like who you are and what you stand for, and you speak that into others and you want to take them with you, then all of a sudden they're interested and they want to do it. They want to do it with you because they believe in what you believe. And that's what they did. All of these millionaires, they had an extremely powerful vision as to where they were going. And that journey, they didn't care about how they got there. They didn't care about the journey. They knew it would work itself out, but they were going towards their vision no matter what. They didn't care who joined them. They didn't care, the cost of their products. They didn't care about how the products worked. They just knew where they were going, and they were going to go there, and they were going to share how they were going to share how they were going to share why they were going there, and they were inviting you to come along with them. And it just struck me. It was so powerful to hear that it's not about the little details. And so I wanted to share that with you because it really, really hit me hard when they started saying that. And it's not often that each of us gets an opportunity to sit in a room with a millionaire or sit in a limo with a millionaire and be able to ask him or her anything that you want to ask them, and to get a response, a positive response that comes from the heart, not a flippant response that is a secret. I don't want to share how I got there. It was very open. And so with that said, I have pledged, and part of my vision is to share with you, my why. Why am I doing this? What do I want to achieve? Because I think that it might resonate with you and help you to find your own vision so that you can have a clear goal. Because when you have that clear goal as to where you want to be in your life, all the other things start to fall into place. They really do. So for me, my vision is I want to create powerful women. And what I mean by that is that so often as women, we put ourselves, or others appear to put us, in a powerless situation. And by powerless, I mean, you get a job or something like that, you really have no control over if you're going to have that job tomorrow. Any job could have layoffs, massive layoffs, and then that financial income and source is taken away from you. And the other side of it, to be powerful, is to have self-confidence and to know that you can achieve anything that you set your mind to. And by being powerful instead of powerless, you inspire your children. So even if you're a person, a mother, or a single person, a single female who doesn't have any children, your future children, or those children, in your family, they're going to watch you and they're going to see how you handle those situations. And now you're creating a generation of powerful individuals. So that's my goal, is to share with others how they can be more powerful. And some of the areas that to me bring you power is, number one, the ability to create your own financial future, to not be dependent on anyone, to realize that you are in control of your life and that you have the ability to create more abundance than you could ever dream of. And once somebody knows that, it's like a light appears in their mind and in their body, and they realize that there's nothing holding them back except themselves. No spouse, no friend, no family, no children can hold you back when you have a very clear vision and a reason for doing what you're doing. The other side of it is I want to help women to be able to create such confidence, not only financially, but physically. As a martial artist, I really think it's important for women to realize that they have the strength to, defend themselves if they need to. They have the strength, to go places, to travel, to be on their own. I think so often we get caught in the shadow of a man in your life, in which you feel like they have to always be there to protect you and guide you and let you go places. And let you is the problem. No one should have to let you do something. I believe that women have the ability to do whatever it is that they want to do, and you shouldn't have to ask permission to do it, because you are just as valuable as a man. And you probably know that. Most of the people on this call, that, but you may not act in the way that demonstrates that you really feel that in your heart. So I challenge you, if you're listening to this call, you're watching me today, to really focus on the power that's within you, because that really is the secret sauce. Everybody's always looking for the secret, what's the secret tool, or what's the secret process in order to become a millionaire? It's not the secret tool. It's you knowing who you are so that you can express that more fully. And so with that said, I also asked the millionaires, what would they recommend? Once you're sharing your vision, how do you share that vision? What's the best ways to do that? And every one of them said, you've got to get out there. And one of the easiest ways to get out there is by blogging every day. And some of you know that we've been having a 21-day blogging challenge. And I do confess that I blog in a different way. Sometimes I blog, verbally, I'll type it up. And other times I blog with a video. And so I don't always blog in the new Calitude platform. Sometimes I blog, just by shooting video. And so one of the things that I'm planning on doing over the next 21 days is I'm going to post those video blogs into my Calitude blog, so that every day in the Calitude blog, I have a blog for 21 days. So the reason I want to do this is I want to create online real estate so that people can stumble across me and find, my vision, and find that, I'm here to help. I'm here to help those women out there who want to be more powerful in their life and abundant and free and have the capability to create the life that they desire. And so I'm going to be doing that. And if you feel strongly about my passion or my vision, or even you have your own vision, I challenge you to start blogging every day for 21 days straight, because there's something magical that happens when you do something every day for 21 days. It creates a habit. And not only that, people start following you and looking at you and your vision to see what it is that you're doing. And you start to inspire people with your story. And you, in sharing your story, can help so many other people. I never really realized the power of a story until this particular mastermind that I just attended in Vegas. There was a man who stood up in our room, I think his name was Chris, and he had shared his story. He was a divorced dad who had 5 kids, and he was struggling to care for those kids because his wife had moved on and just basically left them. And he shared his story and his struggles and how he had to declare bankruptcy, and that somehow he got back on his feet and he was able to provide for his family and create a life that they never had before. And in sharing his story, there was a young woman that was sitting at the table next to him, and she started just breaking down in tears. And the leader of our group, Rhonda, was there, and she went over to comfort her, and they discovered that she had an almost identical story, but from the woman's perspective, as the man who stood up. And so he had inspired her, so that by sharing his story, suddenly it gave her the permission to share her own story. And that was such a powerful thing, because now here we have this woman that was afraid to share her story. She was afraid to admit that she had to declare bankruptcy. She was afraid to admit that she didn't know how she was going to feed her kids at home because she was all alone. She was afraid. But now somebody else shared their story, and they had a similar experience, and he talked about how he overcame that, and he got back on his feet, and now he's thriving. And he inspired her to realize that she too could reach that point. And that to me was it was such a moving moment. I think there wasn't a dry eye in the room when that happened, because we realized the power of sharing our story. And so often we don't share who we are and what we want out of life and what we want for others. And because of that, we're closing ourselves up to the possibilities of not only becoming wealthy, but of changing the world. And I truly believe that each one of us has the capability to change the world, but you have to share your vision. So blogging is an excellent way to start changing the world, just by sharing your vision, sharing who you are, sharing your hopes, your desires, share your knowledge, but do it from the I and you perspective. Don't write so clinically. For those of you that are blogging, and I hope everybody is, if you're on this call and you're watching me and you don't have a blog, you really should consider it, because a blog is a way to get your vision out there, and everyone's story is important. And if I could see, or if I could inspire 100 people this year for 2015 to blog and share their story, that would be a dream come true for me, because I really want to see others, especially women, to achieve this newfound power of realizing that they're important and what they have to share is so incredibly valuable. So through blogging every day, you're going to start seeing a transition eventually. Now, it might not happen immediately, but you're going to see a transition in how things work for you. Because the more you share who you really are, the more you attract people to you that are just like you, that have the same struggles, and are looking for somebody to guide them and show them how they can become more successful. And that's where it all comes together. That's kind of the magic that occurs when you're doing that. So I wanted to share a few more things. I wrote some notes down. So here's the thing. I right now am willing to help 5 people throughout the rest of this month and through February to coach them personally on how they can become their vision, that they can reach their dreams. I'll give them exact step-by-step processes that I've used in order to reach my dreams and be able to work from anywhere and travel. Now, the thing is I only want people that are committed, because I don't want to spend my time with others who are just not that committed. You have to be committed to who you are in your dreams, and you have to be willing to stick with the goals that we set for reaching your dreams. You need to be able to stick to that for a minimum of 90 days. That's 3 months. If you can't do that, then I don't want to work with you, because I don't want failures. I want to help people succeed. And if you already have a block in your head, then you're not going to succeed. And there's nothing I can say to coach you to success and help you to reach whatever figure earnings you want to reach if you're not willing to commit. So if that sounds like you, if you are willing to commit, then I encourage you to reach out to me. And there's a number of ways you can do it. You can always email me. If you are at this hangout, you received an email from me, and just reply to that. Or you can click on the button below and you could join my team, and you would instantly be receiving a call from me to help schedule your coaching. So the other thing I want you to know is that you are not a 7-figure earners that I spoke with all had in common is that you can't run a business on your own. If you want that 7-figure income, or you just want time freedom, or just to be able to pay your bills with residual income that comes in from an online business, you have to be willing to leverage your success with others. And the way that these 7-figure earners did it is they helped inspire others, and they became what I call a tour guide rather than a roadmap. And what that means is that the way they coached others is they pointed those people, the people they were coaching, to solutions or to resources that can help them on their journey to success, rather than just telling them, do this, which doesn't really help anyone for that matter. They actually showed them how to find the solutions and how to find the things that they needed in order to build a successful business. And so that's one of the things that I encourage. And that's the cool thing about what I do and through my coaching, is that I help those that that come to me for coaching so that they can find the resources that they need in order to be a success. It's not rocket science. It really is easy to make a living online. Now, obviously, see, income disclaimer, I mean, I can't guarantee you're going to make $1 million in 90 days. There's no way I could do that. But there are people that have, by the way. But I'm not going to tell everyone that's on this call that you absolutely can do it, because I don't know your work ethic, and I don't know if you're going to keep your commitments. But I can tell you that if you keep your commitments and you stay focused, eventually you will reach that goal. It may not be in 90 days. It may not be in a year. It may not be in 2 years. I can't put a time frame on it, but I can tell you that everyone who stays committed to their goal will reach it. Everyone that I've known of those millionaires, they said that was the thing that set them apart from everyone else, is that they were driven. They knew where they were going. They absolutely knew without a doubt where they were going. And the reason they knew it without a doubt is because, number one, they wrote it down. Number two, they repeated their vision every single day. So I asked those millionaires that I spoke of in the limo, I said, hey, what is one other piece of advice that you could give me that will help me to reach the goals that I have? And one of them pulled out a little business card, just a blank business card that they had handwritten on that business card, their vision and what they plan to achieve in their life. And every day when they got up in the morning, or maybe it could have been later in the afternoon, whenever they took money out of their wallet, they would pull that little card out and they would read their vision and their goal. And by doing that, what it did is it embedded it into them as a person, so that they were so crystal clear on what they wanted and where they were going, that things just started falling into place and opportunities started happening. And if you're watching this call right now, then you know that this is an opportunity for you. You are right now expanding your knowledge. You may have heard some of these things before, but by listening, really listening, you can get a message out of that may be your breakthrough. It may be just what you needed to take your life and your business to the next level. And that's what I'm hoping to inspire in you. So the other thing is, you know, they had a commitment to things that produce results. Now, what does that mean? It means that, you know, a lot of us, we have a business and we think that we are growing that business. We think we're doing everything we can to make that business work. But I want you to take inventory of yourself, okay? If you were to hire yourself to be an employee and work for you, would you be happy with the hiring choice? Would you be happy with what they were doing? Okay, or would you fire them? Would you fire them because they're not following the plan, they're not following the steps that are laid out, and they're not doing money making or revenue generating activities? And if that's you, then you need to step up your game. That was one of the things these millionaires told me. They said, look, you've got to be so focused on where you're going that you don't have time for all the outside fluff. You don't have time for negativity. You don't have time to fool around on Facebook instead of, you know, posting things that are of value, that are going to bring people to you because you're sharing your vision. You don't have time to, you know, organize your web page because right now your focus is on, you know, placing ads so that you can drive them to your business. You know, you can always start changing things, you know, as you can, but if you're spending all of your time just trying to set everything up just perfectly, you're wasting time, valuable time that could be taking you and your life to the next level. The other thing that all these millionaires had in common is they all read every day. Now, by reading, most of them read business and self-help books. They don't just read, you know, a romance novel or something like that. They read things that are going to help them to become better people, better leaders, better business owners, and an inspiration to those around them. And so if you're not reading every day, you really should start looking for books that you can read. And they all told me that on average, they read about an hour a day. Now, some of them actually listen to books, which is one of the things I do, is I get books, audiobooks through Audible, and I download that onto my iPhone. And then when I am doing things around the office that don't require, you know, a lot of, you know, focus, I can listen to these books and I can get in a good hour at least. And all of that, not only is it good for me and my self-development, because keep this in mind, you have to learn how to be a millionaire before you can become one. But it also gave me great content to post on my own blogs. So all of a sudden now I have a ton of content that I can blog about and generate that buzz in the world for what I stand for and what I believe in. Okay. The other thing that you need, if you don't have this already and you want to be a millionaire one day, you have to have really good products. And they can't be something that's a fad. It can't be something that's just a fly-by-night thing. It has to be a solid product that solves a solution or solves a problem in the world. And it also has to be something that's in sync with your vision. So one of the things that we have, and I'm part of a network, if you're new to this, I'm part of a network that provides digital products, which personally I think are the best products, because these types of products, you don't have to have inventory in your house. You don't have to, you don't have to keep buying things in order to resell them. What these products are, they are all web-based, and they are things that are going to help any business owner to develop an online business in such a way that it can generate multiple six-figure incomes or multiple seven-figure incomes if you do it right. And so for me, I feel like I found the perfect product. Perfect products, there's a lot of them actually. So, you know, if you are looking for products, maybe you don't have a product that's like that, then I encourage you to get with me, reach out to me, or click on the button below, and I can help share with you the products that I'm using to reach my vision, which is providing content and things that are going to make women powerful. Okay, I call them tough women. We like those tough women that are tough. They're unstoppable. They're fearless, and most importantly, they're free. They're free from the confines of other people's dreams. You know, you're following your own dreams, and with that, you're creating something beautiful in your life and for others. The other thing that they do is they are so confident that they don't try to sell people in what they do. They simply state their vision and they say, I'm going to do this with or without you, period. Okay? They are headed towards that vision, towards that dream, whether or not anybody buys from them. And you know, you think about it, it sounds harsh at first when you hear that. Some of you have been around for a while, you may have heard that before, and you're like, wow, that's kind of hard. Well, here's the thing. You don't want to work with everybody. You want to work with those people who, number one, are committed. Number two, are willing to do whatever it takes in order to be a success, right? So you want to work with people that are like that. And if they're not committed, then you know you're gonna know right away. Because if you say, look, I'm going to go towards my vision with or without you, then they know you're serious. They know that you're just not testing the waters or dipping your toe in. And that to me is really powerful, because when somebody comes to you and they say, look, I'm going to be a millionaire, you know, by the end of 2015. If they tell me that and they are committed, and I can see the drive in their eyes and in their body language, I know that they're going someplace. And if I'm interested in them and I like their vision, I'm going to follow them. I want to be with them. I want to be around that energy, because there's something so powerful about somebody who knows exactly what they want and where they want to be. So that is something that really, really struck home with me, that the seven-figure earners were telling me. The other thing is when you know where you want to go with your life, you don't have any stress. You say, how's that possible? I got bills to pay. I got things to do. Well, when you have a much bigger purpose and a vision and a why for doing what you're doing, your work becomes play. And sure, I don't recommend you just go out there and, you know, you quit your job if you've got, you know, if you're the only sole income earner, or, you know, you've got a lot of bills. You know, obviously you're going to have to build your own business part-time in order to get it going. You don't want to just quit everything, and, you know, that's going to stress you out for sure. I know it stressed me out when I got laid off. At least I had a severance to fall back on. But if that's you, you know, work this with a clear purpose. But then you also have to keep in mind that you know, you don't want to do something that's going to be stressful to you. If it's stressful, then it's not the right business for you. This should be something that you are so passionate about and you are so dedicated to making it work that there is nothing that anyone can tell you, say to you, that's going to steer you off your path. You're going to that dream no matter what they say, no matter how much they make fun of you, no matter how much they criticize you, no matter what people write on your Facebook page or what people say to you via email. Doesn't matter. What matters is that you know why you're going there. And for me, I know that I want to provide for my family, and I absolutely, without a doubt, know that I want to help women be more powerful and secure and confident, and so that they can change the world just by being an influence for their lives and for their families. So if you know these things, then it's going to help propel you through the tough times. And every one of those seven-figure earners told me that there was not a time that they didn't have a clean slate, you know, as far as a clean path right to their vision. It was bumpy. A lot of them had some severe troubles. You know, they, just like you and I, everybody's going to have setbacks. They're going to have obstacles. And when an obstacle comes up in your life, you have to look at it like water, like a big boulder in a river. When you have a big boulder in a river, the water, it has to go around that obstacle somehow. It's either going to go over it, it's going to go around it, it's going to go under it, or it's going to go through it. And it's the same thing with obstacles that show up in your life. And by obstacles as a human, rather than a rock and water, the obstacles that we experience typically have to do with other people in our lives who put up these warning signs like, no, don't do that, you know, and mainly it's because they're worried about you getting hurt. That's why oftentimes you have people, especially family members, try to pull you back in, because they're worried that you're going to fail and they don't want to see you fail. But what most people don't know is the only way that you can fail is if you quit. And that is in anything, okay? So if you are worried about that, then you need to think about, are you a quitter? Because if you're not a quitter, you're going to eventually succeed, okay? There's no way that you can't, because the more you keep going, the more you keep going around obstacles, you're going to succeed. So you have to envision that you're like water. You're going to go through it, you're going to go around it, you're going to go over it, you're going to go under it, but you are going to get around that obstacle no matter what. And when you have that sense of purpose and drive, those obstacles, they don't last long. You're going to go through them, sure, but they don't last as long because you know exactly where you're going. Okay. And the last thing that I want to say, as far as what I learned from these millionaire earners, was that they are all in. And by all in, doesn't matter what business that you're in, they are fully invested in their business. So not just mentally invested, which is a part of being all in, but they are financially invested. They didn't skimp on their business. They wanted their business set up properly and in such a way that they could generate the types of income the quickest. And in the business we're in, by all in, that means having all the products. And there's 5 main products that we have in our line. And I'm not going to go into those now, but you know, if you're fully committed to your business, you want all of those products, because when you have all those products, now you have something powerful. You have the capability to instantly sell all those products and already have your bills paid for the month. Okay, one sale could literally pay all your bills for the month, depending on how many bills you have. But you know, for most of us, it's one sale. Some of us, it's 2 or 3 sales, but that's very small compared to if you just have one small ticket product. It may take you, 400 or 500 sales before you're able to pay your bills and achieve moderate freedom until you're able to snowball that into your big freedom. So I want you to think about that. Are you really all in? You may be mentally all in, but are you financially all in? Are you fully committed? Because if you're not fully committed, then here's the thing. Subconsciously, you can't tell other people to be all in or fully committed if you aren't yourself. Does that make sense? You cannot be committed if you're not all the way committed. There's no way that other people can. So you have to demonstrate that commitment to your dream and to your vision by getting all in. Having your business set up properly, have all the products, have all the tools at your fingertips, have all the training, and actually go through it and be committed in such a way that when you talk to somebody, you're not asking them to do something that you haven't already done. And that's what I've told my team is I'm never going to ask my team to do something that I haven't already done or in the process of doing. Okay. So, if you're doing that, then you are putting off a very negative way about you, because you've probably had bosses like this. I know I have, where they tell you to do something and they've never done it, or they don't do it themselves, or they talk the talk but they don't walk the walk. Well, that's the same thing in business. If you are not walking the walk as well as speaking this into existence, then what's going to happen is it's going to fail. And I can give you an example. I was speaking to one of the people at our leadership house when we were in Vegas, and Josh, this is for you. Josh is one of the guys on the leadership. Had a great conversation with him over dinner, and he told me, he said, I had a guy that he only bought the first 2 products. He didn't buy last 3, because he felt that he was going to wait until he had made some money before he went all in and bought all the products. And subconsciously, he only was projecting that that's as far as he was willing to commit. So all the people that came in under him were only buying up to his level. And so it was taking him a long time to get to where he wanted to go. And Josh had a conversation with him and said, look, man, you need to get all in, because you might have somebody underneath you that listens to all the trainings and says, you know what, I got to get all in. And they're going to get all in. And next thing you know, they're going to just bypass you and you're not going to get that income. And no sooner had Josh said that, the very next day, this guy had a member underneath him who bought all the products. And that guy lost out on a bunch of commission. He lost out on about $3,000 worth of commission. And so the day after that, that guy called up Josh and said, hey, I'm going to go all in. And he went all in that day. And I thought that was really powerful, because, if you're not all in, it's difficult for you to get others to go all in. And this was just kind of a freak of nature. It was kind of like karma saying, you need to get all in because other people want to now, because they value. You may not know the value, but they do. And so they're just going to bypass you like that water through the rock and get all in. So if you're not all in, I highly recommend you do that. No matter what business you're in, you need to be fully committed to it, because this is your dream. This is your passion. Why would you skimp on doing what's necessary to be a success? Because every 7-figure earner that I spoke of was all in, both financially and mentally. And it's because of that dedication that they were able to scale their business so quickly to that 7-figure level. And I thought that right there was huge, because they stepped their game up. Instead of playing small, which I think a lot of us do who haven't had that type of success before, even to earn 6 figures or more, a lot of people haven't had that in their life. And so they play small, and they start playing these games in their head that things cost too much money, and they have to wait. They can't get all in. They can't invest in themselves or their business. And by playing small, it serves no one. Playing small serves no one. It actually hurts you, and it prevents you from having tremendous success. When you play big, when you start playing big things happen. And that's exactly what these millionaires told me. They said they stepped up their game. They scaled it up. It's just as easy to sell something for $10,000 as it is to sell it for $100. You don't believe me, do you? Well, I tell you what, there's always a market for whatever price point that you have. Okay, maybe a different market, but there's always a market. And actually, the ones that buy high ticket items, they're the easier ones to deal with, because they're committed. You don't just plunk down a couple $1,000s and not be committed to what you're doing. And so those are the type of people I like to work with, because I know that they're committed and they're serious about their dreams and their vision. And that was the other thing those millionaires told me, was they're serious about their dreams and their vision. And because of that, there was no other option other than going all in, because they knew that their life was more important than anything else that was around them. And their vision was more important. So I really learned a lot from these people. I hope that I've, spoke that enough tonight. Sometimes I get so excited. I'm a little sleepy too, because it's a little sleep deprivation there when you're in Vegas. But I'll tell you what, I've never felt so clear on my purpose and my vision as I do after this past week. And if I can give you a gift today, it would to inspire you to know your vision, know what you want. What do you really, really want in your heart and in your life? And when you know that, do everything it takes, for as long as it takes, to reach that vision. All right? Promise me you'll do that. And finally, if you want help, I'm here to help you. Okay? My vision is helping others. It's not self-serving. I would be just as pleased if I could get one of you that's watching this right now, if I could help you reach 6 figures or 7 figures or whatever your goal is, or even a life of freedom if you feel trapped. That to me would make me so happy, because that's my vision. You're powerful. If I can help you to be powerful, man, that's what I want to see. So if that's something that you really want in your life, reach out to me. I'm extending that to you. That's something I want to do. I want to help. So I reach out to me, and I hope that I can, talk to you and help you, and we can look at your dream together, and we can get you to that vision that you want. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out tonight. As you can tell, I'm a little bit tired, but I hope that my message really resonated with you, and I hope that you get in touch with me if you need any help at all with getting coaching and reaching your vision. Make it a great day, and we'll see you next week for our Down and Dirty. Take care.